If the frustration and alienation in Alberta continues to mount, it will pose a very serious challenge to national unity.
He can support them by supporting a new deal that includes the canceling of the carbon tax.
It's insulting to us that we have to subsidize provinces that choose not to develop their own resources.
Let's face it, the discussion around separation is alive and happening in communities here in the province.
Hanging over much of the West right now, a cloud of anger and frustration, specifically over Alberta and Saskatchewan. Many there say they're hurting and Ottawa is not listening enough. Some are calling for separation, more for change. So what will it take to quell the anger? In the next few moments, we'll talk to Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe. We'll also hear from average Albertans about what's behind Western alienation, the issue that turned election night into a wake-up call.
I've heard your frustration, and I want to be there to support you.
The warning signs were there even before election night confirmed it. No Liberal MPs in either Alberta or Saskatchewan.
Know that you are an essential part of our great country.
A snub that Justin Trudeau had to address right away.
I will be reaching out to leaders across the country. We're reaching out specifically to Westerners to hear from them.
Think of it, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a Prime Minister for the last 10 years that Western Canada would never have if we had a choice.
But it's hardly the worst it's ever been in the West.
West wants in.
In fact, in the 1990s, Liberal majorities gave rise to the Reform Party and the Canadian Alliance, political movements born of a demand for better regional representation. This time, the frustration has two main sources: the Liberal carbon tax and its legislation changing the way energy projects are approved. Taken together, what's seen as a lack of support for the oil and gas sector. The Trans Mountain pipeline, purchased and approved by the Liberal government, is simply not enough for those who feel under threat. And so Western alienation and even talk of separation is suddenly a topic of conversation yet again. Setting up this challenge for a Prime Minister: how to maintain unity in a minority parliament with no MPs from two key provinces. That term, Western alienation, can seem like a bit of a buzzword, but the sentiment is very real for many living in Alberta. Aaron Collins headed out to a couple of coffee shops today to talk problems and politics.
In Alberta these days, talk of the province's future in Canada goes round and round. Even over a cup of coffee, the West's frosty relations with Ottawa are hard to escape.
I think anger comes from fear. You know, there's people who have lost their jobs, and I do understand that, and I hear that, and haven't been able to find good replacement work for years now, and all the ripple effects that I'm seeing in our economy.
Kevin Cheney hears that anger and sees that pain. He doesn't feel it personally, and he wants politicians to focus on uniting Canadians, not dividing them. Mike McKillop hears a lot about Western alienation these days too, and the Ontario native says the rest of Canada needs to listen as well.
I think it's just a lot of people feeling their voices aren't being heard, and I think it's a lot of miscommunication from Ontario and Eastern Canada and what's going on in Alberta.
Like most here, leaving Canada isn't the answer for him, but for some in the West, all options are on the table.
To think that we've created this divide internally, it baffles me. But at the same time, the average Canadian voter is pushing Alberta into a place we don't really want to go, but we have no choice. And I can't tell you what's going to come out of it, but the alienation is real and it's growing.
South of Calgary in Turner Valley at the Chuckwagon Cafe, the coffee's a little bit stronger, and so too are the opinions. Gay Robinson and her husband just moved to Alberta from Saskatchewan, and for her, it's hard to see why either province would stay in Canada.
Well, I think it would take a big miracle for the West to want to stay in, and that would take the miracle of Trudeau and other parties dropping some of the issues that they have, which has garnered them votes, like the environmental issues and so on.
But even among Alberta's most alienated, like Barry Lee, there's a feeling that leaving Canada could be a step too far, for now at least.
Something needs to change. We can't keep going down the same path. And I believe that, what's the line is that coming together is the beginning, working together is progress, and staying together it will be success.
Well, Susan Green doesn't want to leave Canada either.
You have to take what we all feel and build it together. We gotta stop being mean to each other with our thumbs. We are so quick to say some sharp things with our thumbs. But the minute ugly words come out, nobody listens anymore.
Back in Calgary, the talk of Western alienation, even separation, doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon.
You can't have a beer with a buddy and have it not come up for the bulk of the conversation.
Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.